Welcome back to our Mailbag episode. In this episode, we're going to be continuing our discussion on is firefighting structural gear absolutely required for a HazMat technician?
It got deep last time, so see how much deeper we can go. Hey, you know what the worst part about getting at a hazmat scene? Getting to a hazmat scene?
Knowing you're going to have to listen to a chief that has no idea what they're talking about, but smile and nod as if it's a good idea and you're taking it into consideration anyway.
Yes, that, and also uncertainty, right? You have no idea what's in the air.
Yes. The old, it's just a chemical assumption doesn't really cut it anymore. We need answers and we need them fast.
That's where the Explorer comes in. It's real-time chemical ID and quantification right in the field.
Probably just a bad chemical. No longer any good. You need to have something that tells you exactly what's there and exactly how much.
So you can set up your safety zones like a pro, not like us.
Giving you defensive, qualitative data in seconds, which is honestly going to make your decision-making a hell of a lot easier.
Which means you don't have to wait around anymore for an answer. You get solid, life-saving intel, getting you back to the firehouse quicker.
Look up more about the Explorer and stop guessing. Check out 908devices.com.
You know, on a hazmat call, the question is never if radiation matters, it's when you're going to find it.
Yeah, to be really honest with you, Bobby, most of the time it comes and finds you, which is why on unknowns, radiation is one of the first things that we want to check for.
Absolutely, because it's one of those things you don't see it, you don't smell it, if you miss it, you're in it.
Exactly. This is why teams across the world are running Teledyne's FLIR's defense identifinders.
Yep, and this isn't a one-size-fits-all tool. They got handheld rids, they got wearable personal devices, and they even got backpacks.
So whether you're one guy tasked to go take a single measurement or you're trying to figure out the big picture of an incident that's just happened, there's always going to be something that fits the job.
Yep. So these aren't theoretical tools. These are things that get used every day by teams that actually rely on information. So make those decisions.
Well, go search the FLIR Identifinder. That's FLIR, F-L-I-R, Identifinder.
And remember, today's episode is brought to you by Rigaku Analytical Devices, who just launched their 4th generation handheld Raman meter, the Icon X.
So for fast, safe, and accurate chemical analyzation, go visit rigakuanalytics.com.
Recording. Okay, so I guess, Mike, you kick it off.
All right. So,
you're not doing ads. I'm sorry.
No.
Here I am waiting for you guys to do ads.
So we ended the last episode, and we started to kind of get into this discussion of what it would look like if we actually had different gear for exact types of jobs. I want to jump into that just a little bit because we started a discussion and I want to be able to finish it because I think it's a really good thought process. Like Bob, you had mentioned possibly a separate set of gear for like lithium ion batteries. So based upon where we're at right now, which I hope is completely different than where you guys started before the last episode, what do you think a policy or structure might look like?
People are going to be throwing their hands up going, what are they doing?
I was just getting used to A, B, C, D. I don't know if I'm ready for more letters than that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it from the hazmat side, right, from the fire side, you have fire gear.
Right.
Done. Right.
You're
Maybe if you're in special operations, you get like technical rescue type, swag. But in the hazmat world, we got quite a few different outfits to wear, right? You got different permutations of those. You got, your fire gear. You got now your new race suit. You got you have, dirty work. Nuisance work kind of suits. You have your C, which is your B. You got your A, and you got different boots and gloves. And
right.
We're an expensive outfit.
We aren't. We're very expensive. Right? We're like our wives. Like it is just accessories upon accessories. But think about this, right, Bob? And Jake as well. I'm sure you guys are the exact same way. You go to a diesel spill. or a gasoline spill in the middle of the wintertime, and there's a quite good possibility you're putting on just like a Tyvek suit, right? I just want to kind of clean it up. I don't want to get my gear all nastified. But you take that same gasoline spill or diesel and you switch it over to the summertime, and now you're wearing bunker gear because you're worried about the flash protection, right? Because that's what we need for flash protection. And it's 100 degrees out, and you're in bunker gear for like 2 hours cleaning up this stupid goddamn spill. Right? Why couldn't I go to an FR suit that is much, much lighter and much cheaper, where if it gets dirty, I can easily launder it. And if I can't launder it, it's not really a big deal that I'm throwing away a $100 outfit and replacing it with another FR suit.
The thing that I've always kind of had a little bit of maybe not confusion, but a little frustration with is the idea that, obviously you guys working where you were working, you were really dedicated to doing hazmat. But like I am on a squad and on a hazmat rig. So like that same gear that I'm going to go do that diesel spill with is the exact same gear that I'm going to go bring into a house fire maybe later that same day. And so that feels more, because like you might be in that environment, not to the point that you feel like it needs to be necessarily deconned in a full fashion, like laundered or something like that. But that doesn't mean you weren't exposed in any regard. And now you have this gear that's potentially contaminated, at least in some form or fashion. And the vast, vast majority of the world does not have truly dedicated hazmat units. Most of these people are using that same gear to go run fire runs. And that contamination could go one way or the other, whether there's problems because you're covered in soot and carbon, or there's problems because you're bringing the hazmat scene to the fire scene, right?
Well, I mean, you could even say, like, when you have your fire gear on, I mean, it's an expensive suit, and it is made to take abuse and mechanically, the mechanical abrasion kind of thing.
Right.
And so you could make the argument, well, if I only have to use the suit for 10% of the runs, well, then you're saving a significant amount because you're replacing a very cheap component of a different suit.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, you had brought up in the last episode, Bob, lithium-ion batteries.
Yes.
Right? If we're taking a stance that we're being very hands-off, then maybe the only people who need to wear bunker gear are the actual engine company that's standing by to fight a fire if need be. But the rest of the people on scene can drop back to an FR suit, a race suit, something along those lines that allow them to kind of stand by, especially in this time of where we don't have really good understanding of what we're contaminating our gear with in these lithium-ion battery fires.
Yeah, I agree, and there's a lot of conjecture of how much is going into the suit versus how much is staying in the suit, how much naturally off gases, how much comes out with the different iterations of cleaning it. And so until the math is mathed out in that thing, there's going to be a lot of people just wringing their hands and everybody. I hate to shit on the salesman, but the salesmen are all trying to sell something. Last week it was a Class D extinguishing agent, and now all of a sudden it fixes battery fires. It's like, what changed? Nothing, just a label. And so
our marketing changed.
Yeah, the marketing changed. The thing shifted. But like, and I didn't even mention the 1994 suit, right? Because that's one of those ones where you can almost like imagine that it's a dual use suit because it's got Nomex on the outside, and it's like, oh shit, I could do chemicals and fight fires. It's like there's a difference in timing.
Nope, we can't fight fires in a 1994 suit. We can be operating around a flammable environment, but it's not a firefighting suit. And I think that's where the key is here, right? Because if we drop back to the OSHA, right? The OSHA says that PPE selection under HazWAPR, which is where we kind of all ultimately sit, must be based upon site hazard, task-specific condition, duration, and PPE limitation. It does not say that hazmat technicians must wear structural firefighting gear. So, in what direction do we end up going with this? I think we have to examine the different types of ensembles that are available to us
Yeah.
and see if any of them actually fit the criteria of what we're doing from a hazmat technician operation that hits site hazard, task-specific conditions, durations, and PPE limitations like OSHA asks us to.
So I think that the first thing that we know that we do when we make a PPE decision is decide whether we're, in plastics or thermal protection, right? That's kind of the definitive solution. So for the sake of staying on topic, let's exclude plastics and focus on thermals, right? So we're in the thermal branch of this tree. Now, what are our options? Currently, like I think this is kind of getting back to the heart of all this, you're pretty much turnouts, right? That's it, right? Plastics are turnouts, right? And now, that has been historically what things have been. And now we're talking, industry, which obviously I'm familiar with, does run FR. But now that we're adding this other layer, which is really this racing suit, which is like a bridge between the two. Structural firefighting gear being the maximum protection that we could use in actual firefighting operations. That FR is kind of that initial flash protection that's kind of maybe underserved in a lot of environments. But now we're trying to add this like level 2 between the 1 and the 3.
I'm going to push back a little on something that you just said, because I don't think it's necessarily I think for firefighting, structural firefighting gear is, your cream of the crop. Like we think that is the maximum protection. But a lot of the standards, especially we mentioned in the last one, the racing suit is actually giving you 2 points higher or 2 seconds higher of protection before second degree burn. So when we look at what did we say OSHA needed? It needed the site hazard, task specific conditions, duration, and PPE limitations. I think that, or I'm starting to believe, again, I haven't really formed the solid, like I would consult and push a department in this direction, but I would venture to say that something like the racing suit may actually be a higher level of protection than structural firefighting gear in the specific situations that we're talking about as far as a hazmat tech working. But Jake, you had mentioned the other gear that you are aware of in industry. What other gear exists?
I mean, the one that I was shocked by, because obviously when I came into working for my environmental consulting company and the hazmat cleanup and remediation, I was like, where are the turnouts? And they were like, you see these like paper gowns over in the corner? That's what you wear. I'm not joking you. Like when I say I say paper gowns, it is quite literally like a hospital gown. Like it is technically a suit, like a Tyvek suit, but they like throw a FR logo on it, and you're like, that now protects you from flames, and you're like, what the hell are you talking about?
That does.
Yeah, like I don't trust that, but that is what they wear. Quite literally, they'll wear cotton coveralls, and then they'll wear that like literally paper thin FR protection over the top of it, and that is what they would wear for just about everything that they would do inside of their scope of practice for a hazmat remediation.
Okay, so do you... Go ahead, Bob. Sorry.
If you think about just the statistics of it, right? Of all the chemicals in the universe, 65% of them are flammable.
Right.
Right. So you're 2/3 likely to see something flammable versus toxic, but there is the combinations, and I get all that crap. But everything, without exception, is toxic before it's flammable. There's no exceptions to that. So, are you going to be dealing with something that is toxic before it's flammable? And yeah, both of them can be adjusted by the simple act of ventilation. But with what I just said there, the one that's impacted easily is flammability. It's the top one to go. The harder one to get rid of is the toxicity part.
But we've always lived in this binary world, and we've taught in this binary world where you only have two choices. You only can protect yourself from chemicals, or you can protect yourself from fire, right? But when we look at industry, right, there's a FR chemical splash suit / FR rainwear. And its best use is flammable liquid splash risk where flash fire potential exists, but no firefighting. And its major limitations is that you must confirm the chemical compatibility and the flash fire rating. So in the fire world, we've always seen this binary, but if we take a look over to industry, that binary becomes a lot more transitional, I guess the modern day terminology would be, right? It's kind of a fluid, if you would, in what it defines itself as.
PPE fluid.
Wow.
PPE fluid. Thank you. That's exactly what our blue-haired friends would be asking us to say. And there's more to that, right? We have NFPA 2112 FR covers with chemical PPE layer over selected appropriate, and these are specifically designed for industry flash fire area support, monitoring, valve operation, perimeter, and hot zone support. They're not chemical vapor protection, and they are not firefighting gear. They're kind of this mush in between. And I sit and I think about the different like areas where I would put this on and go do something.
Oh,
where did Jake go? Anyway, but hey guys, battery fires are starting to change how we think about suppression.
Because for years it was water, cool it, chase it, hope it stays out.
But not anymore with these lithium-ion battery jobs that are all over the place. We're seeing a shift in our priorities. It's no longer about just putting out the fire. It's about controlling it. It's about keeping it from propagating. It's about stopping the reignition cycle.
Which is where some of these newer agents actually are making some sense.
Like TRF Plus from Fire Suppression Solutions. They're not about, hey, this works all the time. They're about giving you a different option that does actually work, and then you take that option and apply it when your regular playbook doesn't match the scenario that's in front of you.
Yupper, you got something that will be applied early, can help limit spread, gives another option besides just flooding the thing with water.
And it comes in a variety of different options, which is great because everybody operates a little bit differently, right? You need a small portable option, they got you covered. You need a bulk kit for big operations, they've got you covered.
And this is not just saying this is the answer. This is us saying that the problem has changed, and this is one of the tools that might make sense for your playbook.
So go to Fire Suppression Solutions and check out the TRF and do some research for yourself.
You know what I love about the city?
Pastrami sandwiches.
No.
Yes, the big, giant Jewish deli pastrami sandwiches.
Ugh. It's the e-scooter gangs.
Oh, yeah. Because nothing says HazMat like a moped about to go nuclear.
That's where Obexian FR saves the day.
It's lightweight, mobile-friendly, and designed for first responders because the last thing we need is extra weight when things are heating up.
And it's third-party tested to lower toxic gases below the IDLH levels.
Which is going to give you a little bit more safety wiggle room when you're putting out that scooter fire.
Exactly, and it comes by the pallet or the certified poly drum.
Which is perfect if you're looking at a giant scene and going, holy crap, we're going to need a lot of this.
So protect your team and your lungs. Go to hazmatguys.com. Well, I'm sorry, the hazmatguys.dgeo.com. That's the hazmatguys.dgeo.com.
It is interesting.
Right. It is.
So, yeah, I think that. What do you think? Let's peel back the onion one more layer. What do you think the reason behind these additional PPE levels not making their way from industry to the fire service is attributable to?
I think the exact thought that you had before, right? Where you said the bunker gear is the cream of the crop in protection. I think that is the idea that we have in our head, and I don't know if that idea meets up with reality.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, because if you think about a gas company, electric company, whatever, that might, or industry, their whole thing is not because it looks cool. It's because it's most economical, best for the business. The bottom line, it checks all the boxes and doesn't kill most people, right? Because there's the payouts, the checks, that's the cost of doing business. But in reality, like in our jobs, it's kind of like nobody we bring everybody home and stuff like that. So we'll defer to the heavier gauge stuff. And now it's become the standard. Like, you can't get away from it. If you don't have, the Mac Daddy stuff, you're kind of like, you're kind of leaving yourself open to something here. It's like,
but what is the Mac Daddy stuff?
for a hazmat team, it's not the same.
Right. Than it is for firefighting operations. It's different.
I have another follow-up. Is racing gear universally certified, or is it like, is there a spectrum of how good and bad? Is there like a minimum standard? And like, also, if you spend $1,500 instead of $700, you get the best shit we have, right? You know what I mean? I would imagine everything has a spectrum. My wife tells me, but it's. I would imagine that you could probably get better, more protective. They like for 700 versus a 2,000, whatever the F1 drivers are wearing is probably like better than the guy that works at the track down the road.
Right, does like the dirt track.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you got?
All right. Well, I've got an AI answer for you because I don't freaking know anything about race cars driving other than they continuously go in circles. All right. So to quote, there is absolutely a spectrum of protection. In fact, one of the strongest points in having favor of this discussion, race suits, is not a single layer of protection. It's a family of garments with dramatically different performances. An SFI rating, which is in North America, is the common standard and is a SFI 3.2A specific. The X, the number represents the suit's thermal protection performance. Generally, the higher the number, the greater the protection and the longer the wearer has to escape a fire. And in this chart, there is a rating of 1, 5, 10, 15, and 20, with 20 being up to 40 seconds of protection. That is a lot more than bunker gear. Like, that's not 2 seconds worth. That is that is almost over double the time.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, so then now that makes the argument. Like, I think when you're talking 2 seconds to make a foundational change in the fire service and hazmat response, it's hard to justify. But if you could say, hey, let's wear these suits, it gives us double the escape time.
Right. My mission is to get the F out if it flashes, and this suit gives me more than double the time. Now, there's also an FIA standard, and this is for an international motorsports, often use the standard of, and it's in French, so I'm not even going to, whatever. The initials are FIA, and it's a different certification system, but they have single layer suits, multi-layer suits, different thermal performances, and different suits for different racing environments. So not all suits are created equally. And this is just the racing suit. We're looking at differences in construction, differences in the ensemble.
I'm wondering if I hate to say this, but people out there are going to be like, these three jerks just started the conversation. Nobody was wanting to.
Nobody wanted this.
Yeah,
right.
No, one guy wanted it, and he asked it at the happy hour. And I swear to God, I started it being like, who's going to want to do anything different than bunker gear? And then I went, I sound like the old guy that goes, that's just the way we've always done it. And I went, you know what? I should actually do some research before I form an opinion.
All right, so timestamp this. This is July 1st, 2026 that we're recording this. I'm curious in the next 5 years if teams are actually using this now. And we're not sponsored by any freaking racing.
Well, maybe we should be. Maybe we should be talking to Simpson or one of these. They try to start a fire safety wing of their company.
Maybe we should. And the newest class in our catalog is correcting outside of the box PPE.
Yeah, risk-based.
Risk-based, OSHA-based PPE selection.
So I just did a little bit of AIing on my own over here.
Okay,
and
what do you got?
The highest level of protection is the U.S. drag racing standard, which is
I was going to say the funny cars.
SFI 3.2A/20. That is the most escape time in a fire.
Right, that's the
it's
40
a 20%
seconds.
improvement over the next best one. And that suit runs $2,400.
Well, okay, so that's a little more expensive.
A little bit more expensive, but you're still doubling. You're halving the cost and doubling the protection.
So what I have here is a rating of 1 is 3 seconds, a rating of 5 is 10 seconds, a rating of 10 is 19 seconds. Why they didn't just make it the seconds? This is so stupid.
Yeah.
A rating of 15 is 30 seconds, and a rating of 20 is 40 seconds. So even the 10, which is your mid-range, your professional race suit, right? So that it went entry-level racing, sportsman's class, professional racing, high-risk motorsports, and then top tier. Even your mid-range 19 beats bunker gear by 2 seconds. And that's the suit that the guy in the happy hour was saying was only $700 to $800.
We might have to get a couple and try
We're not
them out.
even talking at bulk prices. Maybe we can negotiate.
Yeah.
I mean, we certainly would go
symbol on the front
Right.
of you or something like that.
All right, never. Hey, I stand corrected. I did have some additional. There's a suit I found on here, less than $1,000 for that 20 rate. Less than $1,000.
We need to stop
$990.
HazMat Guy's logo on them and get into the FR for fire department.
And
business.
boy, do these suits look sleek. I think we would look pretty dapper.
Patches all over.
I look
it.
good in everything, man.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
As long as I've
But,
got clothes on, everybody's happy.
I do. This is a conversation that nobody was asking for.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know more about it because like there is an ensemble component. So it is like, well, if I'm wearing this, do I need to wear, heat resistant socks and underwear and undershirts and gloves and hoods, and there's other pieces to this jumpsuit, but I don't know what that total cost looks like when you add all that in. But I absolutely believe that we may be entering a new era accidentally in thinking about flammability protection in hazmat.
You know what? One of the wives' tales, and we could probably end it on this thing, is that, and where we used to work, it used to be like everybody's got to wear pants and long shirts, and we're like, okay, because of chemical absorption and protection. And you know what it was? It was the original guys didn't like having their arm hairs pulled out by the suit, so they said, and we're like, that's why we do this. This is so stupid. And
but you know what? They're right, because I did shorts once in a level A. I'll never do it again.
Oh.